Welcome back to the Nick Bartlett Show, everybody. And today we're going to be doing things just a little bit different.
Mhm.
Instead of interviewing a sports writer or stadium announcer, today we're going to sit down with Rodney Cox. Cox is a former Arizona State football player, and he currently works as a college scout. But he's also the owner of Empower Gametime, which is a collegiate recruiting and consulting company. He didn't want me to say the owner part. He only introduced himself as a scout. But I just want to say thank you for coming on the show, Rodney.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Nick, for everything. Just like what you said, I'm the owner of Empower Game Time Collegiate Scout. What we do, just real quick, let's just jump into it. We help high school kids get to the next level from high school to college, even college transfers. And we just make it easy for the parents and for the kids to enjoy the process.
Awesome. Yeah. No. Yeah. I think it's good to. I'm interested to hear things from your perspective. Like I said, we've
Right.
done stadium announcers. We've done a lot of writers, but a college scout and owner of a recruiting company, consulting
Mhm.
company is a little bit different. So before we get to it, everyone out there, please remember to like and subscribe to us here at Super West Sports. And all right, sir, let's get to the questions. So
Here we
first,
go.
first thing I got to ask you here is, I know and I can tell just already by your initial thoughts, you want to talk about your athletes and your role as a college scout first. I respect
Right.
that, but I went to your website and now I did some research and I got to ask you about your career first. So simple question after all the talking. What type of dedication did it take to earn your way from a walk-on to starting safety your senior year?
You know what, Nick? You did do your homework. I like that. So basically, man, the dedication was just hard work. Staying late while everybody else was gone or showing up early. The playbook, was huge. You know what I mean? As far as knowing your plays, obviously for the people who don't know, played at Arizona State. You see it back there. Sun Devils, let's go. Coach Dillingham is now the new coach. You know what I mean? So I'm looking for big things. Now they're in a different conference. They're not the Pac-12 no more. But it just took a lot of dedication. A lot of hard work. Just making plays. Showing the coaches that I can play at that level to earn that starting spot.
Yeah. No, and I mean, I think again, you're being a little humble here, but again, I mean, 65 tackles, 49 solo, an interception, a forced fumble, a blocked punt against my Washington State Cougars in the mid 2000s, and then probably actually I can't speak if it's one of your most notable moments, but you recorded an interception against rival
Very
Arizona
nice.
in 2007. So that was probably felt good. But
Absolutely.
moving forward
Absolutely.
here, now to your current role. How would you best describe your role as a college scout?
You know what? I am college scout. I'm a tour guide, and this is what I mean by that, right? So in this whole recruiting game, a lot of kids, a lot of families have not been through the process, right? So basically, I walk them. My team walks them through the process of what college coaches to talk to, how to speak to college coaches, right? Either on social media because Twitter or X is a big thing, or even talking to them in person. But it's big on just getting their name out there, exposure, and again, not just let's say locally here in Arizona or California or Oregon, but let's go to the Midwest. Let's go to back east or down south. So that's what we do. I'm just a college scout tour guide, helping them through the process.
Yeah, and I mean, some of the obviously, like you mentioned, you have players throughout the country,
Mhm.
and actually in other countries too. And I think I'll touch on that a little later. But
Okay.
I mean, if you just look at, and I know you have some other big time players, and respect to all athletes, but just for Super West sports purposes, for all out there, you've worked with Elijah Rushing, who's the Oregon class of 2024,
Mhm.
Jacob Rasmussen, Arizona class of 2023, and Cruz Rushing, also Arizona class of 2022. So these are guys who are making an impact at the D1 level as well as all levels of football. But we'll get to the all levels of football in a second here.
Absolutely. And you know what? Let's kind of throw a curveball real quick. So Elijah Russian is a brother of Cruz Russian, and they're actually both at University of Oregon. So the whole transfer portal, which I know you probably gonna jump into that. I know you're gonna have a question about the transfer portal, but I do want to give a quick shout out to my man Zeke Brandon. He's at Fresno State, again, the West Coast in Cali. But yeah, we just out here working, Nick. That's it.
Yeah, no doubt. Fresno State is under our umbrella of teams. Actually,
Okay.
I got a I'm a Cougar, so they'll always be my team. But I think the Fresno culture I've touched on before. I think it's a really good asset to West Coast football. A little bit different than some other locations. And
Absolutely.
then hopping back though, now back to your playing days a little bit. Sorry
Okay.
if I might have ruined it. But did you have a favorite memory at ASU? And this can be on the field or off the field, bus rides, or it could be on the field. So,
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna give you two. Okay. And you did say one already, which was the interception. Okay. Because me playing strong safety, I was more in the box. And my football guys know what that is. You know what I mean? We're making tackles, right? But with that interception, obviously it was against, U of A, our rival. It was just amazing, great feeling to do. My second, memorable moment would be Camp Tonazona. Okay. And that's where we go to kind of get out the heat. We're bonding with our teammates, and all you do is just football. Like your phones don't work, you can't call mom and dad or your girlfriends. And we was there for, oh my gosh, like it felt like 2 weeks. We was there for probably a week, but man, it was just the beautiful weather. It's up north. So that's just the whole bonding moment of just bonding with your teammates and doing a fight song, because you will get booed, okay, as a freshman. So you better know your fight song, your school's fight song.
That's awesome, and it's interesting hearing you say that too. I kind of wanted to hear a story first. My cousin went to ASU, so I always love kind of hearing the first take stories. I was like I'm mentioning for the 18th time now. I was a Cougar, and the reason I'm saying this time is because in my younger days, you're probably making a little bit better decisions, but ASU showed me how to have a good time. My cousin showed me. I thought WSU knew how, and I was wrong. I was wrong. So
You know,
obviously.
we can talk about that later as far as, Mill Avenue, Scottsdale, Turn Up Central.
I wish I could tell. I wish I could tell you firsthand that I know, but my cousin. I think my cousin showed me a little bit. But
Okay.
hopping back to something we alluded to earlier. So we might have mentioned, some of the bigger names, but what are the and sorry, this is kind of a lengthy question, just heads
No
up, but
worries.
what are the advantages of playing ball at lower levels of competition? Because along with the D1 players, you've literally sent athletes to various colleges across the country and even Canada. I saw
Mhm.
Ottawa. So does it allow a kid to just be a kid at the lower levels?
Absolutely. And here we go. Let's just be honest, right? Or at least up front, right? In this D1 world, it's a job in all divisions, but like the higher division, it's strenuous. You know what I mean? Like you can't get let's just say a job, or you can't sometimes go home to see your families. And I mean, again, it's a lot of accountability and, just a lot of work. You know what I mean? And I feel like even with this whole transfer portal, where kids can go to, like, let's say a Division 2 or Division 3 or a NAI or even JUCO, still be competitive, but still kind of be a kid still, right? If you want to go and let's say you and your buddies want to go to, let's say bowling night one night, or just do something fun, you can, But I think in those other divisions, other than the Division 1, you have a little bit more free time to kind of just be yourself, have some downtime, relax a little bit, things like that.
Yeah, and I think one thing a lot of people, it's one thing for people to say that, but you've sent people to the highest level, you played at the highest level,
Mhm.
as well as sent players, what some people may consider lower levels, and you really back up your talk. I mean, you've sent players, like I mentioned, to Ottawa University, to Oregon, to Arizona Christian. So when we're talking all levels, all over the country, and I left out
Mhm.
so many schools I wanted to do more, but that would have taken a while. So and then this is the question that really I was personally interested in.
Okay.
How do you build those relationships with all those coaches? Do these connections come more from your playing days, or have you just established your reputation at Empower Game Time?
Nick, that is a great question. It's a little bit of both. I'll be honest. For instance, I'm just going to throw names out. So you have Trent Bray, who's now the head coach at Oregon State. He coached me when I was at ASU. You have Jamie Christian, who's their special team coach over there at Oregon State. I know him from at ASU as well. But then again, just building relationships, because in this recruiting game, as a scout, I can't overpromise and underdeliver. So let's say, for instance, if I have a D2 type of athlete, in this recruiting game, I can't really sell him to that D1 until he starts to show those D1 attributes. So I respect these coaches just like these coaches respect me, and they know, hey, if Rodney is calling me and saying, hey, you need to look at this young man, okay, he's a baller because I've done my research, I've met with the families, I know what the kids' goals are, to move to the next level. So it's a little bit of both, Nick. And I know we're going to talk about this whole Oregon trip, because I think that's how we kind of got connected. But yeah, I mean, it's all about connections, who and just making sure that I am giving these coaches the right athletes with, again, GPA, grades, right attitude and things like that. So it's a little bit of both. Connections from when I played at ASU to in this business since 2017.
Yeah, and I think to kind of it's one thing you mentioned or you touched on briefly, is like it seems that I want to phrase this respectfully. It seems like you don't lie to athletes. You don't force feed them. If they're straight D2 player, you're a D2 player. And for all those out there, it's like, oh, why is Nick coming on here and like saying blah 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 about Rodney, hyping him up? A lot of my research is based off your testimonials, and I read a lot of the testimonials, and specifically you. And I don't personally know her, but I'll shout out Jackie. Got a lot of love. And one thing that kept coming to mind, or the word that kept coming kind of to the forefront of all these testimonials, was family. And then the first thing when we were on the air, and I won't spill your business too much, or when we were off the air, excuse me, the first thing I was like, hey, how are you doing? Normal, just talking. The first thing you talked about was it your two daughters?
So a daughter and a son.
Daughters, I'm sorry, my mistake.
You're good.
Your two kids. And so just by that in itself, I'll let it speak for itself. I don't feel the need to say anything else besides for that. So moving forward here, how do you feel about this? You were ready for this one. How do you feel about the changing nature of college football, whether it's conference realignment, NILs, or the transfer portal? This is just a different game than 10 years ago.
Listen, this is a different game, right? I played when it was the Pac-10, right? Then it went to the Pac-12. And then now ASU is in the Big 12, right? So, yeah, I'm my head on my Big 12, Big 10, Big 12. So there it's crazy, right? Which, Nick, let's be honest, okay? It's about the dollar bills, okay? It's a bigger network, right? TV deals and exposure, playing against teams that are in, let's say, the Big 12, going to playing against, let's say, UCF or University of Kansas and things like that. So listen, I like it. I actually love it. Now, let's be honest, ASU, and again, I'm talking just ASU for once, or not for once, but like just now they're getting more into like recruiting in Texas, right? Now they're going, again, outside of Arizona and just hitting certain parts to kind of stamp their flag. Now, again, ASU knows this. I want them to kind of come back and get some of the guys that are here, like in home, you know what I mean? And then again, keep branching out to the Californias and, the Texas and the Oregons to be a competitor in this Big 12 conference, which leads me into the transfer portal. Nick, let me tell you, the transfer portal is crazy. It's funny that you say that because, excuse me, I just posted something on Facebook about when, what's his name? Deion Sanders was talking about, he was on a podcast. He was saying, hey, I feel bad for the high school kids, because these colleges are only recruiting, 4 to 6 high school kids a year, but they're jumping into the transfer portal to really recruit their guys, because this is a win now, atmosphere. These coaches don't have 2 to 3 years to grow a program, because if they keep losing, they're going to be on the chopping blocks. So we got to go now to the transfer portal to maybe a mature 21-year-old or a 22-year-old instead of going after a 18-year-old that I got to groom, I got to, stay on top of with his homework and things like that. We'll talk more about the NIL deals because that's, listen, Nick, I can go on and on and on. NIL deals, you want my honest opinion on that?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So let's talk about it. Student athletes should get paid, right? Because we bring in so much money, right? So much money with TV deals and jersey sales and apparel and things like that, where it's hard for it. I'm just talking football, for us to get let's say a summer job, right? Because we're always just on the go, 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 go. So do I think NIL deals are good? Yes, but I think NCAA should have they presented it too fast. What they should have did is maybe put something in place where, hey, let's say athlete A, when you graduate, you'll get this amount of money. Like put it in like a pot. You know what I mean? So again, it gives someone the urge to graduate, right? Hey, if you get to go to the league, you only get 50% of that NIL money. If you graduate with a 4-year degree, you get, all of your money. But then again, check this out, is what about the center, right? You don't see centers or offensive linemen getting this NIL money, right? You see quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, sometimes DBs. But what about the guy who's, again, hiking the ball? So then you start bringing in teams and division. You know what I mean? Like teams are like, hey, what about me? Like I'm working out just as hard as you, but you get NIL deal, but I don't. So I think there needs to be something where the whole team gets money, or like at least divide it up, right? Hey, over the 90, student athletes that we have, if we receive X amount of money, let's divide it up for everybody that's putting in the time, and maybe put some stipulations on it. Hey, you got to have a 3.0 or better, right? Because we are students first and then athletes second.
Yeah, that is that's probably one of the best ideas I've heard, man. I have nothing else to really add there. I love getting the offensive linemen involved, getting the whole team involved, but most importantly, talking about graduation rates, because I don't ever claim to play the warrior sport football. I was a basketball player, not very good, but I played a little ball, but
Okay.
like people are really putting their bodies on the line, and not even just in games, even the practice squad guys in football getting beat up in practice every day. And now you're talking about potential medical implications when they're older. And so just hearing the whole team getting taken care of and graduating with other options in their life, those two things really resonate with me. So
Absolutely.
Like that take. And I think we're actually pretty much at the end here.
Okay.
Yeah, wow. Got one more question for you, and then we'll see if anything else comes up. But so really just my final question is always pretty simple. Is there anything else you would like to add, or any final words on why an athlete might consider choosing you at Empower Gametime?
You know what? The biggest thing is just do your research, right? There's a lot of companies out there that do what I do, that do what we do, at Empower Gametime. Just do your research and kind of just figure out like who's the best fit, right? That's one. Two is I tell all my athletes, be comfortable being uncomfortable, right? Don't just be stuck in, like, let's say, like, for instance, I got a couple kids that's in California, right? Like Carson Clark, right? He's a a good wide receiver, top wide receiver over at St. John Bosco, right? Hey, be open to going to like a East Coast, New York, or down south like Florida. And again, I mean, he does a great job, right? But I'm just giving you an example. Is just be comfortable being uncomfortable. Another thing is just get out and do unofficial visits. And again, I think that's how you and I connected, was with we do college visits every year. This past year, we went to Oregon twice, literally back to back, where we flew kids up to Portland State, or not Portland, but Portland. And then we saw 9 schools in 4 days, from Portland State all the way down to Willamette, Pacific, Lewis and Clark, George Fox. And I'm missing one. Who's the other one? Oh, Linfield, Division III. Then we saw Western Oregon with Division II, and then we saw Oregon and Oregon State. Again, just to get used to, like, man, I'm okay going far and seeing a different state or a different school. But one thing I do want to put out there is we are hosting an all-star game. Okay, we do it every year. Hey, Nick, you're invited. Come, bring yourself down to Arizona. Okay, it is a 3-day event. It's January 9th through the 11th, where we do everything. We do something every day. Oh my gosh, it's a senior game. It's streamed live. We have college coaches that come. We give kids gifts. It's dope. It's amazing, and it's cool because we had kids come from let me see, California, Colorado, Oregon, Washington. The furthest kid came from Virginia. I'm gonna give him a shout out. Brick Davis, offensive lineman. He was huge, like 6'6", 280. And now he's going to a JUCO, Butte College, out there. One of the a good JUCO out there that gets guys out. So we're just having fun, Nick. At the end of the day, just getting kids to college.
Yeah, hey man, I got a buddy down there in Arizona, a Super West Sports writer. He's a big Wildcat. So I would love to tell him Sun Devil
Ooh.
invited me down there. That'd be good stuff. So Dane, if you are watching, yeah, I got a free place to stay. No, I can throw you a couple bucks, but no, in all seriousness though, you said what were the dates again on that?
So January 9th through the 11th.
Perfect. Okay. And that sounds like an awesome place for young players to showcase their talents down in Arizona.
Absolutely.
And then, so again, I want to say, just thank you again for coming on the show again, Rodney.
Likewise.
Yeah, like again, reading the testimonials, sometimes you backed up everything you said. Your father, again, my mistake earlier, you got a son and a daughter. So it just, to me, refreshing to hear some of the things you talked about today. Obviously, you can put one thing on a business website, but when you have an opportunity to sit down and talk with the person, you get to know them a little better. And everything you said was just a little bit different than what I've heard from other scouts and other people in this business. We're always talking about winning. We're always talking about money. We're always talking about we're looking for notoriety. That's all it
Right.
is. And I heard you mention putting the student athlete first. I heard you talk about graduation. I heard you talk about family. And to me, that's why I do this show. That's why I cover football, is for the family, the connections. I've met a lot of cool people, big, small, in between, all over the country. And I don't want to go on a final rant here too long, but as you mentioned, it is important. And I'm from Seattle, so when I went to Wazoo, I got a little bit of a culture shock. But just being able to interview writers throughout the country and interact with people like you mentioned, from Texas to California, people are different. There's beautiful people everywhere, and I think it is important to be able to expand your horizons. So.
Absolutely.
With that being said, you can contact or follow Rodney at empowergametimerecruiting.com or his X handle at GametimeRC. Again, that's at GameTimeRC. And thank you everyone for watching again, and stay yourself.
Thank you.